Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatiravanna Chari. Yamunatiravanna Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamunatiravanna Chari. Yamunatiravanna Chari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gauranga Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jagat Guru. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Vaishnava. Jaya Acharya Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Acharya Thakur Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Acharya Thakur. Jaya Patita Pavan Srila Prabhupada, Patit Pavan Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Patita Pavan. Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Bhakti. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev. Jaya Patita Pavan Srila Gurudeva, Patit Pavan Srila Gurudeva. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jai Gurudeva. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramansa Privrajagacharya Astotarastu Shishimad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaya Charanar Vindam Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana Ki Jai Shri 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 Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Yatharupa Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Ki Jai Shri Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So welcome to today's celebration of Shri Krishna Janmashtami, the happiest day of our life, because the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, who has so much going on in the spiritual world, and you can just see from our paintings how busy he is, how much in love he is with his devotees, with all of the wonderful residents in Vrindavan. And yet he takes the time to come to an insignificant planet like planet Earth. It's a very small planet, actually. It's described that our universe is the smallest of all the universes. And in those very small universes, there is a small planet in the middle planetary system known as planet Earth, which is really a nondescript planet until Lord Krishna decided to actually come to this planet. And because Lord Krishna came to this planet became the most famous planet in all of the planetary systems, because Krishna came here. And he's such an amazing personality that all the way from the time of Lord Rama, actually properly explained, we know that Lord Ramachandra comes 1,000 times in the day of Brahma, and Krishna only comes once. So why Lord Ramachandra comes 1,000 times is to prepare us so that our behavior will be so nice, our understanding will be so nice, that when Krishna comes, we'll understand something about Krishna. Because Krishna is such an unusual person. He's such an amazingly unusual person. And this ties in very much with today's class. Nrsimharupa Prabhu, our dear temple president, he's been asking the speakers up till now, like he asked Kalakanta Prabhu, and then some of the other speakers who spoke, how he wanted them to focus more on the devotees, focus on, how devotees progress towards Krishna, the greatest of all. And in that march towards Krishna, what happens? What are the things that they encounter? This, that, and the other. And some of the previous speakers spoke very nicely about that. And so today, because it's the appearance day of Lord Krishna, we'll speak about the birth of Lord Krishna and tie in the devotee aspect to it. So actually, I was thinking of speaking from Canto 10, which talks about the birth of Krishna. And the particular chapter that is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam is chapter 3 of Canto 10. Canto 10 is the summum bonum canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is divided into 12 parts, 12 cantos. And the 10th canto is the decantation of the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, it's called the summum bonum, like that. And Srimad Bhagavatam itself is an amazing, amazing document. In fact, I'm going to say a little about the Srimad Bhagavatam because it actually puts into context everything so nicely when Krishna is being described in that chapter 3, which says the birth of Lord Krishna. And we're just going to do the first 5 verses because they happen to come together, the first 5 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Before we start, let's put our hands together and repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adigora Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana ki Jai. Jai the holy appearance day of the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna ki Jai. Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. So, Srila Prabhupada actually gave us an introduction to this chapter. It's rare that Prabhupada actually wrote the introduction himself. I mean, of course, there are many chapters in which he did that. But for the 10th canto, Srila Prabhupada actually departed while speaking from the 10th canto. And so he went up to the 13th chapter, and that's when he left his body. And this is the effect of the 10th canto. It's the effect of Krishna on people, that the desire becomes so strong to love Krishna, so strong to come to know Krishna, that one may actually feel like, I just don't want to stay here anymore. I mean, I just want to be with Krishna. I don't want to do anything else but be with Krishna. And this is the effect of the Samambonam canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we're very fortunate that in this one chapter, Srila Prabhupada actually gives an amazing summary of this chapter. And I'm going to read the summary first, or if you can just bring up the summary. And then I don't know if we have another mic like this around. Do we have a second mic? So while he's getting the second mic, I'll start. The birth of Lord Krishna. As described in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Hari, in his original form, appeared as Vishnu, so that his father and mother could understand that their son was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You might remember, this is what Mother Devaki and Vasudeva wanted. They wanted actually to have Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as their son. Yeah, you might. I'll ask people to speak, and when they speak, they can. Yeah. So this is why Krishna appears as Vishnu, so that they will understand that our desire has been fulfilled, that the Supreme Lord Himself came as our son. How amazing is that, right? To have a child that is the Supreme Personality Himself, or to have the child who is Radharani, the Supreme Personality herself, like that. O Lord Balaram. Because they were afraid of Kamsa, when the Lord appeared as an ordinary child, they took him to Gokula, the home of Nanda Maharaj. We'll describe that a little later. Somebody want to read the next paragraph? Go ahead.
Mother Devaki, being fully transcendental, Satchidananda, does not belong to this material world. Thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared with 4 hands, as if born from her womb. Upon seeing the Lord in that Vishnu form, Vasudeva was struck with wonder, and in transcendental happiness, he and Devaki mentally gave 10,000 cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Vasudeva then offered prayers to the Lord, addressing him as the Supreme Person, Parabrahman, the Super Soul, who is beyond duality and who is internally and externally all-pervading. The Lord, the cause of all causes, is beyond material existence. Although He is the creator of this material world, when He enters the world as Paramahatma, He is all-pervading. Anandatara Parmanu Chayantarashtam. Yet He is transcendently situated. For the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material world, the Lord appears as the guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara. Thus, Vasudeva offered prayers full of meaning to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devaki followed her husband by offering prayers and describing transcendental nature of the Lord. Fearing Kamsa and desiring that the Lord not be understood by atheistic and materialistic non-devotees, she prayed that the Lord would draw his transcendental four-arm form and appear like an ordinary child with two hands.
One of the Madajis want to read the next one, please?
The Lord reminded Vasudeva and Devaki of two other incarnations in which he had appeared as their son. He had appeared as Prishinagarbha and Vamanadev, and now this was the third time he was appearing as the son of Devaki to fulfill their desire. The Lord then decided to leave the residence of Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison house of Kansa, and at this very time, Yogamaya took birth as the daughter of Yashoda. By the arrangement of Yogamaya, Vasudeva was able to leave the prison house and save the child from the hands of Kansa. When Vasudeva brought Krishna to the house of Nanda Maharaj, he saw that by Yogamaya's arrangement, Yashoda, as well as everyone else, was deeply asleep. Thus he exchanged the babies, taking Yogamaya from Yashoda's lap and placing Krishna there instead. Then Vasudeva returned to his own place, having taken Yogamaya as his daughter. He placed Yogamaya on Devaki's bed and prepared to be a prisoner as before. In Gokula, Yashoda could not understand whether she had given birth to a male or a female child.
Nice. Very wonderful description given by Srila Prabhupada in this introduction. And then we have the verse itself, so please chant with me. Shishuko vacha atha sarva gunopetaha atha sarva gunopetaha kalaha paramashobana kala paramashobana Yarnyaneva jana janmaksham Yaryeva jana yarmaksham Shantarksha graha tarakam Shantarksha graha tarakam Shishuko vacha Atha sarva gunopetaha Kalaha paramashobana Yaryeva jana janmaksham Shantarksha graha tarakam. Please repeat. Shishuko vacha Atha sarva gunopetaha Kala paramashobanaha Yaryeva jana dharmakshang Santarksha grahtarakam Shishuko vacha Atha sarva gunopetaha Kala paramashobana Yarneva janmaksham Santarksha grahatarakam Shishuko vacha Atha sarva gunopetaha Kala paramashobana Yaryeva janmaksham Shantarksha grahatarakam Shishuko vacha Ata sarva gunopetaha Kala paramashobana Yarnyeva janmaksham Santarksha grahatarakam Shri Shuka Vacha Hara Sarva Gunopekasha Palakarma Shobhanaha Yaryaiva Maksham Tantaksha Grahatarakam Shri Shuka Vacha Katha Sarva Gunopetaha Prakadna Paksham Yarhe Vajana Jarmaksham Santarsha Grahatarakam. So we're going to go straight into the translation. I'll read the other verses. So please repeat after me. Thereafter, at the auspicious time, for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with all of the qualities of goodness, beauty and peace. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were very peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky. Decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds, the earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs, full of lilies and lotuses, were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees and green plants, full of flowers and leaves, pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the sense of touch and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmanas, engaging in ritualistic ceremonies, ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. When the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmanas, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts. And kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. So this is a very long translation. And then going to the purport. Just for brevity, I'll read the purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his appearance, birth, and activities are all transcendental, and that one who factually understands them is immediately eligible to be transferred to the spiritual world. The Lord's appearance or birth is not like that of an ordinary man who is forced to accept a material body according to his past deeds. The Lord's appearance is explained in the previous chapter. He appears out of his own sweet pleasure. When the time was mature for the appearance of the Lord, the constellations became very auspicious. The astrological influence of the constellation known as Rohini was also predominant because this constellation is considered very auspicious. Rohini is under the direct supervision of Brahma, who is born of Vishnu, and it appears at the birth of Lord Vishnu, who is in fact birthless. According to the astrological conclusion, besides the proper situation of the stars, there are auspicious and inauspicious moments due to the different situations of the different planetary systems. At the time of Krishna's birth, the planetary systems were automatically adjusted so that everything became auspicious. At that time, in all directions, east, west, south, north, everywhere, there was an atmosphere of peace and prosperity. Auspicious stars were visible. Auspicious stars were visible. Then it says here, I might have missed something out. 4, 5. Oh, here it is. Auspicious stars were visible in the sky and on the surface in all towns and villages were pasturing grounds, and within the mind of everyone there were signs of good fortune. The rivers were flowing full of water, and the lakes were beautifully decorated with lotus flowers. The forests were full with beautiful birds and peacocks. All the birds within the forests began to sing with sweet voices, and the peacocks began to dance with their consorts. The wind blew very pleasantly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, and the sensation of bodily touch was very pleasing. At home, the Brahmanas, who were accustomed to offer sacrifices in the fire, found their homes very pleasant for offerings. Because of disturbances created by demoniac kings, the sacrificial fire had been almost stopped in the houses of the Brahmins. But now they could find the opportunity to start the fire peacefully. Being forbidden to offer sacrifices, the Brahmanas were very much distressed in mind, intelligence, and activities. But just at the point of Krishna's appearance, automatically their minds became full of joy because they could hear loud vibrations in the sky of transcendental sounds proclaiming the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the occasion of Lord Krishna's birth, seasonal changes took place throughout the entire universe. Krishna was born during the month of September, yet it appeared like springtime. The atmosphere, however, was very cool, although not chilly, and the rivers and reservoirs appeared just as they would in Sharat, the fall. Lotuses and lilies blossomed during the day, but although Krishna appeared at 12 o'clock midnight, the lilies and lotuses were in bloom, and thus the wind blowing at that time was full of fragrance. Because of Kamsa's disturbances, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies had almost stopped. The Brahmanas and saintly persons could not execute the Vedic rituals with peaceful minds. But now the Brahmanas were very pleased to perform their daily ritualistic ceremonies undisturbed. The business of the Asuras is to disturb the Suras, the devotees and Brahmanas. But at the time of Krishna's appearance, these devotees and Brahmanas were undisturbed. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vancha kalpa trubhescha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, I'd been asked by Nrsimharupa Prabhu to speak about the birth of Lord Krishna with reference to, as devotees, as we make progress, what are things that we can expect, and how do we deal with situations when actually we feel disturbed, we feel like things are not working out so well? How do we move forward? So before I say that, I wanted to introduce the Srimad Bhagavatam in a manner so that we'll understand why every part of the Srimad Bhagavatam is very sweet and full of so much value that it is said that every syllable of the Srimad Bhagavatam pours forth a flood of nectar. Like a whole flood of devotional nectar comes out from every syllable of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to speak from some of the prayers that Srila Sanatana Goswami, who we know, spoke about the Vedas, gave us an understanding of devotional service, gave us an understanding of spirituality, of religiosity, of mundane material life, etc., in a way that was all-encompassing. So he wrote a very nice set of stanzas, actually 5 stanzas, that he called Srimad Bhagavata Mahima Stotra. I'm only going to read the English translation so that we get the idea why the Srimad Bhagavatam actually gives real answers to no matter how difficult the problem might be that we might be facing, and or how great the opportunity we might have to take advantage of. So he says in the first verse, O nectar, he's referring to Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of light to all the worlds. Actually, acharyas sometimes describe you can burn all the books in creation, it won't make any difference. If you just keep the Srimad Bhagavatam, everything will be perfect. So we can see how he describes that in the first verse. In the second verse he says, O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Just as we are seeing Kalachandji in his exact image, so similarly the Bhagavatam is the exact image of Kalachandji. Third verse, he says, I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Then the fourth verse he says, my only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. In some of the temples, actually, before they speak from the Srimad Bhagavatam every day, the Srimad Bhagavatam is placed at the lotus feet of the Lord. And then that Bhagavatam is brought with some fanfare. Everybody chants Hare Krishna. It's like how we do a procession. They do a procession from the feet of the Lord to the Vyasasan, to the lantern in front of the Vyasasan. This is how much respect and love they show the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because we can see, he says, that the Srimad Bhagavatam is our only friend. We all love friends, right? Everybody loves friends. Even Krishna says that he is the best friend of all living entities. Here it says, our only friend, our constant companion, our spiritual master, our great wealth, our savior, our good fortune, our source of ecstasy. This is Srimad Bhagavatam. Then finally he says something that's really, really beautiful. And all of us should accept this with our heart and soul and pray like this. Because this is what will make us amazing in our preaching when we go out and meet the world. Because this is actually the ultimate purpose of ISKCON. The purpose is so that we have a sangha of devotees, and the devotees become powered up empowered to go outside and help the children of Krishna, those who are beloved of Krishna, which is every living entity, to actually once again come to know Sri Krishna. Until then, it's okay, Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita, for them to think that they are God. He actually says that in Bhagavad Gita. He makes an amazing statement. He says, it is okay for a man to think that he is God. Then he has a comma. Until he meets a devotee of God. That's when he realizes there is no reason for us to be God, because you can be a person who is so beloved to God that God gives you a position that's even greater than his, as it did to Mother Yashoda, Radharani, so many wonderful personalities in the spiritual world. So this is what he says. This is the prayer we should really take to heart and make it part of our heart. He says, O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly. O exalter of the most fallen. Please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. This is the sum and substance of a devotee. A devotee understands that the devotee is unsaintly, and the saintliness is being brought about by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And that we are most fallen. This is the age of the most fallen. We're only inhabiting this age because we are the most fallen. And who exalts the most fallen? Srimad Bhagavatam. Guru and Krishna actually exalt the most fallen. And appear in our hearts and our voice with pure love. So that our hearts can be full of pure love and our voice full of pure love. Now I'm going to go to the Srimad Bhagavatam, and if I had not done this, you'd not understand why I'm going to the next section of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The next section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story that's going to help us as devotees understand something that is truly amazing. I'm just wondering if I left that page at home. It's here. I'm sure Krishna allows it to be here. Okay, one. This is the story of Prithu Maharaj. As you know, in the story of Prithu Maharaj, I'm just going to go briefly over a little bit of the history because I want to come to a particular point. There was a great king, a great emperor, who was very Krishna conscious, and he decided that he just wanted to drop everything in his kingdom, go to the forest, and be fully Krishna conscious. He had a son whose name was Vena, and this boy was a real rascal. I mean, really, really tough character. And so the question became, who would be the king after the retirement of this great emperor? And so the Brahmanas decided that because he was the son of the king, that he should become the king. So they installed him as the king. So he wreaked havoc when he became the king. He wreaked such havoc that people did not have food to eat. They were going hungry. They became emaciated. So emaciated, if you think I'm skinny, this is nothing. I mean, really skinny. Everybody became really skinny. There was no nice, plump person, looking like Nanda Braj Prabhu. Nobody. Not one person. Everybody became really emaciated, really, really, miserable, amazingly miserable. The thieves were plundering everything. And so the Brahmanas realized that this is not good at all. So what the Brahmanas did was, they decided that they should kill King Vena. This is the power of the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas can actually even bring to life a person and can kill a person. This is real Brahmanas. Obviously, these Brahmanas are not inhabiting Kali Yuga. We're not that great. But in this age, it is the devotees of Lord Gauranga who are considered very great as well. And sometimes devotees do amazing things. So, as Srila Prabhupada did, amazing, amazing things. I mean, like when Tulsi Puja is going on, he would offer the water to Tulsi from the conch, because water in a conch is considered very pure. And he would throw the water to the Tulsi plant. The water would go and circumambulate the Tulsi plant and then drop on the Tulsi plant. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? The water would circumambulate the Tulsi plant and drop on it. Amazing, amazing things like it. Prabhupada did just things you just can't even imagine. Really amazing, amazing things. So what happened was, they decided after they killed him, to now, they had to bring in the next king in. So what they decided to do was churn parts of his body. And the first part of the body that he churned brought out a demon, a really nasty demon, Because this often happens in life, that when we do things, the things don't always go right at the beginning. In the beginning, things really go wrong a little. And then things start coming right. So this was the first person who came, and that person stood aside. Then they churned the body again, and two other great personalities came, King Prithu and his consort. These two came. And they were actually expansions of Vishnu themselves. They were what we call Shaktivesh avatars. They were empowered incarnations. And so King Prithu, he wanted to again bring back life into the inhabitants of his kingdom in a way that they would be happy. This is the king's purpose. The king must do that. And if the king does that, then what will happen in the next life, the king will get 1/6 of all of the pious credit of his whole kingdom, like that. And if he doesn't do that, then his next life, he gets all of the impious miseries of all the people in his kingdom, like that. So it's a very difficult position to be in. So when he came back and he noticed that Mother Earth was not cooperating as he wanted her to cooperate. So he decided to kill her. King Prithu was a really powerful king. He was like an all or nothing guy. You either fall in line and do the right thing, or I will punish you. And sometimes the punishment will be very bad. So he took his bow out to actually kill Mother Earth. Mother Earth decided, better turn into a cow. If I turn into a cow, the king won't kill me because you're not supposed to kill cows, right? So Mother Earth becomes the cow. But King Prithu is very determined. The cow can see. He's not giving up. He's actually going to kill me even though I'm a cow. She started running away. And he chased after her, right? And after a while, she realized, this is not working. He's actually going to kill me. It's not going to work. So she stops and starts offering prayers to him and explaining why she was not producing the crops, and the food, the grains, etc., so that people can live nicely. She started explaining that. And she said, if the people of the world were pious, she said, I have seeds in my womb that I can produce as much crop as is necessary in one room that can supply the whole planet. Think about this. This is Mother Earth speaking, as a cow. She says that in her womb, she has the seeds of all food that if she decided that food will sprout and come out, then in a room like this, she could produce enough food grains to supply the whole planet. Can you imagine that? I mean, how much crop would come out in this size room like that? So she's explaining like this. And so as she's explaining, Prithu Maharaj is becoming calmer and calmer and calmer. His anger is subsiding. Finally, it subsides to the extent that he is completely satisfied. But then he decides, now I need to milk you, she says. He says to the cow, I need to milk you. And when I milk you, I will get what is needed for the population. So, verse by verse, it's described starting from text 12. It says, after hearing the auspicious and pleasing words of planet Earth, the king accepted them. He then transformed Swayambhuva Manu into a calf and milked all the herbs and grains from the earth in the form of a cow, keeping them in his cupped hands. Right? He is Swambhuva Manu. Who is Swambhuva Manu? He is the greatest of all living entities at that time. So he uses him as a calf because when a cow gives milk, as those of us who have milk cows know, we place the calf with the cow. So seeing the cow actually gives a lot of milk because this is the love that the cow has for her calf. So who became the calf? Swambhuva Manu. And Prithu Maharaj milks the cow, milks Mother Earth of all herbs and grains, so that now there'd be no shortage of herbs and grains. Then it continues, and this is the real part I wanted to get to. Others who were as intelligent as King Prithu also took the essence out of planet Earth. Indeed, everyone took this opportunity to follow in the footsteps of King Prithu and got whatever he desired from planet Earth. Next text. All the great sages transformed Brihaspati into a calf. Because the sages, their leader is Brihaspati. So they transformed Brihaspati into a calf and making the senses into a pot. The senses into a pot. They milk all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind, and hearing. But that's their interest, right? That's the interest of the sages. So they milk that from Mother Earth into the pot. What was the pot? The pot was their senses. That became the pot. Then came the demigods. The demigods never want to miss out on anything. They're always looking for benefits and pleasure, like that. All the demigods made Indra, the king of heaven, into a calf. And from earth, they milked the beverage soma, which is nectar. We call it soma rasa, right? Thus, they became very powerful in mental speculation and bodily and sensual strength. Then it describes the sons of Diti and the demons. Diti is the mother of the demons. The sons of Diti and the demons transformed Prahlad Maharaj, who was born in an Asura family, into a calf. And they extracted various kinds of liquor and beer, which they put into a pot made of iron. So now you can see what the demons love, right? That's their favorite food. For them, that's their great nourishment. Then came the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka and Apsara Loka. They made Vishvavasu into a calf, and they drew the milk into a lotus flower pot. The milk took the shape of sweet musical art and beauty. That's what the Gandharva Lokas wanted. Gandharva Lokas and Apsara Lokas. Then the next group came. The fortunate inhabitants of Pitraloka. Pitraloka are those who are parents, grandparents who live and are very pious and are elevated to the heavenly planets. They go to Pitraloka. So then the fortunate inhabitants of Pitraloka who preside over funeral ceremonies made Aryama into a calf. With great faith, they milked kavya, food offers to the ancestors, into an unbaked earthen pot. After this, the inhabitants of Siddhaloka, as well as the inhabitants of Vidyadhar Loka, transformed the great sage Kapila into a calf, and making the whole sky into a pot, they milked out specific yogic mystic powers, beginning with anima. Indeed, the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka acquired the art of flying in the sky. This is all coming from Mother Earth. Okay? Then it describes others also, the inhabitants of planets known as Kim Purushaloka, made the demon Maya, it's actually Maya, into a calf. And they milked out mystic powers by which one can disappear immediately from another's vision and appear again in a different form. Then the yakshas, rakshasas, ghosts, and witches, who are habituated to eating flesh, transformed Lord Shiva's incarnation, Rudra, Bhutanatha, into a calf, and milked out beverages made of blood and put them into a pot made of skulls. This is Mother Earth delivering all of this, okay? Then it describes, thereafter, cobras and snakes without hoods, large snakes, scorpions, and many other poisonous animals took poison out of planet Earth as their milk and kept this poison in snake holes. They made a calf out of takshaka. The four-legged animals, like the cows, made a calf out of the bull who carries Lord Shiva, and made a milking pot out of the forest. Thus they got fresh green grasses to eat. Ferocious animals like tigers transformed a lion into a calf, and thus they were able to get flesh for milk. The birds made a calf out of Garuda and took milk from the earth in the form of moving insects and non-moving plants and grasses. The trees made a calf out of the banyan tree, and thus they derived milk in the form of many delicious juices. The mountains transformed the Himalayas into a calf, and they milked a variety of minerals into a pot made of peaks of hills. Finally, the planet Earth supplied everyone his respective food. During the time of King Prithu, the earth was fully under the control of the king. Thus, all the inhabitants of the earth could get their food supply by creating various types of calves and putting their particular types of milk into various pots. So we can see from this how Krishna is taking care of everybody, right? Even people that we think, oh, these are nasty people, we have nothing to do with them, we don't even want to think about them. For Krishna, they're all children of Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Nitera Krishna Das. Krishna says, Aham Bija Pradapitaha. Everyone is Krishna's servant. Everyone is Krishna's child. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. Everyone is beloved to Krishna. Right? So, in this story of King Prithu, we learn as devotees that actually Krishna loves each and every one of us. Look how he's giving so much love to everybody here, right? Even persons that we may think are not even qualified. He's helping them. So what happens after this is King Prithu decides that he wants to do the Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha is a 100-horse sacrifice program. Ashwa means horse. And so he decides to actually do a fire sacrifice with 100 horses, 100-horse fire sacrifice. As he finishes the 99th one and goes into the 100th one, Lord Indra gets a little worried because Lord Indra was the only one who had done the Ashwamedha. And Lord Indra thought, if someone else does the Ashwamedha, they will become Indra. Then I'll lose my position as the king of heaven. And he really enjoys that position a lot. It's really such an enjoyable position to be in. And he's really addicted to the enjoyment. So what happens is, he comes as a Brahmin, dressed as a Brahmin, and steals the horse. So as he's taking off with the horse, one of the great sages on the planet, Atri, sees that this is happening, and he goes and tells King Prithu. Now, one of the things about King Prithu is, he's got a very short temper. He gets angry very quickly. And he can actually kill a person. I mean, to that extent, he gets angry, you know. So he finds out that Indra is taking over the horse, so he decides, I'm going to kill Indra. Right? So he sends his son. Tell him, you go in, take care of Indra. The son is chasing Indra. Indra realizes, the son is catching up on me, and I'm going to die. So he lets the horse go, and then he goes and hides. So, the son, he gets a new name, Vijit Ashva. Vijit Ashva. Vijit means to win, to be victorious. And Ashva means the horse. So he became victorious in bringing the horse back. Name became Vijay. His father became very happy. Lo and behold, as the ceremony is going again, Lord Indra comes again. Again steals the horse and takes off. This time, Prithu Maharaj decides, I'm going to go after him myself. So Prithu Maharaj goes after him, very determined, I'm going to really punish this guy. So now it comes to the point where he's going to kill Indra. The Brahmanas realize, whoa, this is going to cause a big problem. Why? Because Indra himself is very beloved to Krishna. Actually, in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that Krishna likes to be known as Indra Krishna, and made him the king of heaven. And he also is a part and parcel of Krishna and his administration, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Brahmanas plead with Prithu Maharaj, you can't do this, you can't kill him. There has to be another way. We know he should be punished, but there has to be another way to do this. So then the Brahmanas actually explain to him why they should not kill. And then in the process, Lord Brahma comes and says to him, don't do that. You're a king. Your purpose is to run a kingdom. Your purpose is not to do 100 horse sacrifices. Why are you doing 100 horse sacrifices? What is your purpose behind doing it? What's the big deal? Indra did it because he's the king of heaven. You're the king of this planet. You make sure things are working well on the planet. Why do you want to kill Indra? He says to him, that's not your dharma. You practice your dharma. This is Brahma coming explaining to King Prithu. And then Lord Vishnu himself decides to come. And when Lord Vishnu comes, as you know, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he brings with him a whole retinue of persons, like the demigods and all the amazing personalities in creation come with him, and then Lord Vishnu starts explaining. In that explanation, he explains something that we as devotees can understand, and then I'm going to relate these two parts together. What he explains is, he says, when you are given an instruction, you were given the instruction to become the king of the planet. That is your duty. When you are given an instruction, you should be so absorbed in the instruction that you cannot see the problems that are going on around you. You shouldn't get absorbed with the problems that are going around you, because those problems are the machinations of the modes of nature. Those are the modes that are working. The modes are going to create issues. The modes are always going to create problems. You are not supposed to be worrying about what the modes are doing. You should be focused on your service. You should be focused on your instruction. So Prabhupada says in the purport, Prabhupada says it's a little hard to understand this. How do you understand this? So he gives an example, wonderful example. He says, because in this world, what is the most important thing in this world? Money, right? Money is the honey in this world. Even in America, they say the American dream is to become rich and famous, right? And even in India, they say sometimes to people, they tell their children, if you don't have money, everything else is useless. Your health is useless, everything is useless. If you don't have money, you have no value, like that. So basically, Prabhupada gives the business example. He says, imagine that there is a great magnate. Magnate means a very wealthy person, extremely wealthy person. He's riding in his car. What do you think he's thinking as he's riding, and his driver is driving the car? What do you think he's thinking as he's driving the car? Is he thinking about the gas tank? Is he thinking how much fuel is in the gas tank? Is he thinking, why is there so much traffic on the road? Is he thinking, wow, we just hit a pothole here? Do you think he's thinking like that? No, what do you think he's thinking? He's thinking about business, right? Oh, I'm going to be making this contract. I'll be doing this business. I'll earn so much more money, and then I'll be able to do this. I'll be able to do that. My wife will be happy. My children will be happy. I'll be, the leader of a great, heritage. My children's children will know me as the great grandfather who brought about so much wealth. So this is what he's thinking, right? So he says, in the same way, when we are thinking about our service, whatever service that our spiritual master has given us, Srila Prabhupada has given us so much service. Please go out and preach. Please chant Hare Krishna nicely. Please follow the regulated principles. So many things he's told us, right? if we focus on that, then what will happen is that the other things that the modes are creating around us will not bother us. Will not bother us. So now I'm going to say something that I am now adding the two together and telling you, and then I'm going to tell you some pastimes of Krishna that actually relate to this wonderful story, okay? So how I'm relating this is, for us, what is the most important thing for devotees? Harinam Sankirtan, right? Lord Chaitanya said, I have imported from the spiritual world Golokera Premadhana, Sri Harinam Sankirtan. So for us, that is our milk. Get the idea? That's our milk. That's what sustains us. That's what nourishes us. If we have Golokera Premadhana Sri Harinam Sankirtan, we'll be fully satisfied. We'll be always fully satisfied. And then, who is the cow? In our case, our cow is actually Gauranga Mahaprabhu himself. He is the cow. He is Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. He is Vidyavadhu Maharani, Harinam Prabhu Nahi Anya. This is the consort. He is Nityananda Prana Nahi Anya. Nityananda Prana is Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It's Gauranga Mahaprabhu's name. Right? So he's the cow. He's who we are milking so that we will get Golokera Prema Sharinam Sankirtan. And he says that. I have this wonderful tree that's full of mangoes. What are these mangoes? These mangoes are all Golokera Premadhana Sharinam Sankirtan. Without any skin and without any seed in the middle. Just pure pulp. Relishable pulp, right? And who is our cow? Our cow is Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the best of the Rupanugas. Do you know that Rupa Goswami is actually, as you know, he is Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari is the topmost devotee who serves in the most intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the gopis and the gopas. This is Rupa Manjari. She comes with Lord Chaitanya. Why? To give us the highest bliss of Krishna consciousness, which is actually obtained when we actually practice pure Krishna consciousness, which happens when we drink the milk of Golokera Premadhana, Sri Harinam Sankirtan. And Srila Prabhupada is the best of the Rupanugas, right? He brought this science to the West, made it palatable, made it understandable to even the most fallen persons like myself and others who actually had no understanding of what the meaning of life was. We were happily, merrily doing sinful things, nice road to hell, nice road to hell. We were on the bus singing Kumbaya, we're going to hell, we're going to have a great time in hell, and let's create hell here. That was us. And Srila Prabhupada comes and says, in front of the bus, says, stop. All of you get off the bus. This bus heading the wrong direction. I want you to get on the right bus. This bus will take you to where you really want to go and where there's the real Kumbaya happening. Real Kaivalya happening. Right? And then what is our pot? What is our pot? Our pot is our service. This is the pot in which we hold Golokera Premadhana. In this pot we hold Golokera Premadhana. What happens when we do this? What happens is, two things happen. One is, we solve the greatest problems of the world. What are the greatest problems of the world? Birth, death, old age, disease, right? And then three others. Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, and Adi Devik miseries, right? These are the greatest problems of this world. These are the problems, if you solve, you've really solved the problem. Otherwise, you just come back again and stay within the equation. And keep just like a dog chasing its tail, keep going around and around and around in circles, right? We've lived billions of lives doing this, chasing our tail. And we're still chasing our tail. And now Prabhupada comes, stop, do this, get right, go back home, back to Godhead, right? Okay, so that's the one thing. The second thing is, it gives us the best of outcomes, benefits, and emotional fulfillment. Everybody in this world is looking for some outcome. They're looking for some benefits. They're looking for some emotional fulfillment. And the best of all outcomes, benefits, and emotional fulfillment is Krishna Prema, Gauranga Prema. So simultaneously it does two things. It solves most difficult problems and all problems of the world, and simultaneously gives you the best of the best of the best. And then there is a wonderful pastime of Krishna that shows this. And that pastime is Govardhan Leela. We have a wonderful painting at the back of Krishna lifting the Govardhan hill. Let me tell you the story of Govardhan Leela, and then you'll see how powerful this one pastime is. So Govardhan Leela, as you know, one day, Nanda Baba and his cowherd men were preparing for a puja. They're preparing to do a puja. And Krishna comes along and says, Baba, Baba, what are you doing? So Baba says, Lala, we're actually preparing for Indra Puja, because Indra supplies rain, and then we have grains, and we have crops, and we all become very happy. The cows get nice grass to eat, this, that, and the other. And so Krishna says to Nanda Baba, Baba, but Indra pours rain everywhere, on the top of the hills, in the ocean. All the places rain is given. He says, that's not who we should be worshipping. We actually should worship Brahmanas, because Brahmanas are the right people to worship. And the best of the Brahmanas is none other than Giriraj, Govardhan. Because he supplies wonderful water, wonderful grass that our cows love. You ask the cows, they'll say that the grass on Govardhan Hill is the best of all grass. When we go there and the water we drink is the most nectarian of all water. By the way, there's scientifically an understanding that in Govardhan, there are certain types of diamonds and other gems that are in the hill that actually touch the water that's flowing down. And that's why the water in Govardhan is the sweetest of all water, the best of all water. So Krishna says, myself, my brother, my friends, the cows, the calves, we're all going there and we're enjoying so much. It's just an amazing place. So we should worship Giriraj. So Nanda Baba, who loves Krishna very much, decides, okay, let's go. And then they make a big arrangement, and they're worshipping Govardhan, they do arti, and they offer all types of foodstuffs. And by the way, nobody cooks better than Brajabasis. If any of you ever have been in Vrindavan or are going to Vrindavan, please find your way into the homes of one of the Brajabasis, actual Brajabasis. They love everybody. They're very happy to welcome people into their homes. Strangers, complete strangers. They'll invite them right in. And then they make these chapatis. And I'm going to put the mic down here. And then they take the thing and they clap it on their hands like this. And it comes out beautiful circle. Amazing circle. And then they put that on the fire, and it becomes a nice, fulka. They call it fulka, which is like a chapati, right? And then the sabjis they make, you'd eat your fingers, because there's some sabji still hanging on your finger. Finger licking good is nothing. Finger eating good is much greater. Like that. So, these Brajabasis are cooking for Giriraj. And Giriraj is just completely in ecstasies, in bliss. He's eating all this foodstuff, and he loves it so much. He's going, Anyor, give me more, give me more, give me more. They're just eating. They ran out of all the food within 10 miles of the place. Within 10 miles, all the villagers finished all their food. They brought water from the Yamuna, filled drums and drums and drums of water from the Yamuna, and giving him water to drink, where they're running out of what to give him. And he's going, Anyor. And of course, the Brajabasi is also very smart, especially Radharani. So she decides, give him a tulsi leaf. So they give him a tulsi leaf to it, and he goes, Triptostami. Triptostami means, I'm satisfied. Now I'm satisfied. I feel full. In the meantime, Indra is looking at this, and he's thinking, this is supposed to be my puja. Why is this guy enjoying? And look at all the things that they're feeding him. They never fed me like this, so he gets very angry. So what does he do? He sends his people to actually flood the place with a lot of rain and lightning and this, that, and the other. So Krishna, because he loves his devotees so much, he decides, I'm going to lift up Govardhan, which is a very big hill, by the way, at the time. He lifts Govardhan hill on his little pinky. So all of the inhabitants of Vrindavan are actually underneath the hill, right? Indra, in the meantime, seeing that it's not working, his punishment is not working, decides to now send hail, ice. And these ice, they were not just small pieces, they're not just golf ball size. They were the size of these pillars. You see these pillars here? Ice falling bigger than these pillar size ice falling. You can imagine that type of ice falls from the sky. It's going to crush anything, right? And it's causing amazing pain to everybody. Amazing pain. What happens? Krishna decides to lift Govardhan hill, tells everybody, come inside. And one thing about Krishna is, he looks so beautiful. This guy is such a nice looking guy. That whenever somebody sees his face, they feel like, I'm just happy. They're just like deliriously happy. They wonder why they're feeling so happy. It's like everything is bliss. So they're looking at him and he's looking at them and they're all in bliss and everybody's forgetting that there's this great ice falling. And then Krishna, another thing that Indra does, he starts sending down lightning that is so powerful that it can split planet Earth into two. That's how powerful those lightning bolts were. And he's hitting Giriraj, because underneath Giriraj is the devotees, right? So he wants to get to the devotees. He wants to punish Krishna. He wants to punish Giriraj. So he's sending these huge lightning bolts and hitting Giriraj's body. And everybody's thinking, oh my God, Giriraj is suffering so much. And Giriraj is thinking, somebody's showering flower petals on me. He's not feeling any pain. Why is he not feeling any pain? Because Krishna is absorbing everything. Krishna is absorbing everything. So, in this story, what do we see? We see that even though the residents were facing the greatest pain, were they feeling pain? No, they were feeling pleasure. Why were they feeling pleasure? Because they were always seeing Krishna. They're only seeing Krishna. And Krishna is taking care of everything, right? Krishna says that. Konteya tu pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. He says, I will take care of everything. You don't worry. You just do your duty. What is our duty? Our duty is our devotional service. This is our duty. And that duty is determined by the spiritual master, determined by the acharyas. In our case, Srila Prabhupada is the presiding spiritual master of the whole movement. ISKCON, like that. We stay focused on our instructions. No matter what happens around us, whether somebody insults you, they throw you out of the movement, whatever they do to you, nothing's going to happen. Why? Because you're focused on service. If you stay focused on service, you will see that is just Krishna playing games and the modes doing their bit. It's the mode's job to create problems. That's the job they were given. And by the way, the ones who create the most problem in this world are the females. Males are nothing compared to females when it comes to creating problems. Females know the art of how to inflict pain. When they decide to inflict pain, no male can protect himself. This is how powerful women are. That's why the three modes are controlled by who? By three women. Mother Lakshmi, Mother Durga, and Mother Saraswati. You think anybody can escape that? I mean, Maya is bad enough, right? Maya is bad enough. She is very powerful. No one can escape Maya. No one. But now she's got two bodyguards around her, Lakshmi and Saraswati too. And their job is create havoc. Why do they create havoc? Because they're angry. Why are they angry? They're angry because we decided that we were going to forget Krishna and start becoming Krishna ourselves. We decided, I'm going to be an Ishvara. I'm going to be a Lord. I'm going to lord it over the material world. So these three mothers decided, we'll teach them a nice lesson. And they became the modes. And those modes cannot be defeated. Right? But the only one person who can control those modes is Krishna. Why? Because they love him very much. All three are devotees of Krishna. Mother Durga is a devotee of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. She takes Gauranga Mahaprabhu's dust of the Lord's feet and puts it on the middle part of her hair, which is where you're supposed to put the dust of the lotus feet of your husband. if he is a lotus feet person. Right? So, and that's why in the 9 islands of Mayapur, Vrindavan, Navadvip, one island is called Simantadvip. That place is named after Durga, putting the dust of the lotus feet of Gauranga on her, on the split in her head, not the split, the part in her head where they put that thing, right? Even Lord Shiva was surprised. What are you doing? Who is your Lord? And he says, the same Lord you have. He says, what is my Lord? He says, your Lord is Gauranga. And Lord Shiva said, yeah, that is true. That is true. That's why one of the 9 islands is named after Lord Shiva as well. It's called Rudradvip. So both Lord Shiva and Parvati are there, right? In the pastimes of Lord Gauranga. So like that, no matter what the big problems were, these devotees were being sheltered by Krishna, and they were feeling fine. They were not feeling the pain. And actually, any of us who, as we go and become devotees, Prabhupada said it takes about 30, 40 years to realize this, okay? In the early stage, it's a little hard to realize this point. But as you become a devotee and you stay steady, which is the number one quality of a devotee, and if you hang in there for 30 to 40 years, I guarantee you, you will see that the most powerful thing is your instruction that you got. Whatever instruction you get is the most powerful thing. Following that instruction is the most powerful thing, and anything happening around you, even if a nuclear bomb was to fall right now in the middle of this temple, we should all be, no worries. We just got to keep chanting Hare Krishna. We're going to sing, we're going to dance, and we're going to eat a lot of prasadam. So what if the bomb fell? The bomb falls, what will happen? The body changes, right? That's all. You lose your old cloth, you get new cloth. Who doesn't like a new cloth? How many of you wake up in the morning thinking, man, I hated it. I'm going to have to wear new clothes today. I wish I could wear the old clothes of yesterday, the dirty clothes, the torn, dirty clothes of yesterday, on which I passed urine, etc. How many of you do that? Nobody. Everybody's thinking, wow, wear new clothes today. Great clothes. We'd love to die. Love to die. Then we get new cloth, better cloth, do greater things, more service, because that's our pleasure. This is our pleasure. So this is what the inhabitants are thinking. But Krishna is not thinking like that. Krishna is so great. How can I make my devotees really happy? That's all Krishna thinks all day long. Do you know that? 24/7. The only thought in Krishna's head is, how do I make my devotees happier? More devotees, happier devotees. I remember one time in the GVC, we decided to come out with some type of a nice statement that would describe ISKCON. So the statement we came out with was, more devotees, happier devotees. That happens to be exactly what Krishna wants. He wants more devotees and happier devotees. So what does he do? Lo and behold, while he's holding up that hill, he shows them the caves in Giriraj, in the mountain. He shows them. And these caves are very, very beautiful. You look at these pastimes, right? And you look at any one of these pastimes. This is like a pastime happening inside one of the caves of Giriraj. There's a whole universe inside that cave, in each of the compartments of the cave. And the devotees are thinking, wow, this is amazing. Wow, this is happening, that is happening. They're just completely lost. And then Krishna blows their minds. I mean, if that was not enough mind-blowing, Krishna blows their mind. What happens? He shows them 7 planetary systems below the mountain. And he says, we're going to go there and we're going to all have pastimes in those 7 planetary systems. So he goes into the first planetary system and Durvasha Muni is there. And Durvasha Muni is visiting with Radharani. And Radharani, as we know, is the best cook, right? In fact, there's a very wonderful story about her being the best cook. She cooks and she feeds Durvasha Muni. Durvasha Muni becomes very happy. He becomes very happy. So he gives her a blessing that if anybody eats food that has been cooked by Radharani, that person will have perfect health and be extremely blissful. Mother Yashoda hears this, right? Oh, that happens when somebody eats Radharani's food? I'm looking for a wife for my son. My son is an eligible bachelor. I'm looking for the best wife. My son is the best. There's nobody better than my son. My little Kalachandraji is the best. That's by the way, Kalachandra is Mother Yashoda's favorite name for Krishna when he's a little boy. Kalachandra. And we're so fortunate, our Didi's name is Kalachanji. We have the right name. Wonderful name. So she decides, I'm going to go and see if I can get Radharani as my daughter-in-law. So she goes to Varshana, and she goes into this room where she knows Radharani will sooner or later come. But Radharani is already there. And she's got her eyes closed. She puts her hands down. She's sitting on a divan, and her left hand on the divan, and she's got eyes closed. And she's obviously in some meditation, and we can imagine what the meditation might be, right? And Mother Yashoda comes, sits next to her, and touches her hand. Before she touches her hand, Radharani knows it's Mother Yashoda is coming to the room. Radharani's got very good sense of smell. She can tell from far away who are all the people around the place, just by the smell. So she knows Mother Yashoda is walking. So she opens her eyes, she says, Maya, what are you doing here? So Maya is like surprised. She already knows. She wanted to sneak in, but she sees Radharani. She says, Lali. Lali is when they love someone. It's a girl, they call her Lali, and if it's a boy, call her Lala, like that. Lali, I was thinking something. Yes, Maya, what were you thinking? I was thinking, have you ever thought of getting married? And Lali closes her eyes, and she doesn't know what to say, but it's obvious she's a little disturbed. So Mother Yashoda is very smart. She knows, I think she's feeling a little disturbed. I shouldn't push this now. I think I went too far asking this question. Shouldn't have asked this question. She says, Lali, I'd like to decorate your hand. Now, you learn something from this, okay? Whenever you do something, go prepared. Don't go unprepared. You want something, go expecting it to happen, and if it happens, what are you supposed to do when it happens? So go prepared. Mother Yashoda is prepared. What is she prepared with? She has brought with her some nice turmeric paste, some nice, what is the red paste? What do they call that? Kumkum, yeah, there's a nice name in English for it. Anyway, vermilion, right? Nice vermilion paste like that. She says, can I decorate your hand? Radharani says, yes, please, Mata. Gives a hand. She decorates her hand, right? And as she's decorating her hands, Radharani's friends are behind the curtain on this side. On the other side, Mother Yashoda cannot see. The girls are going, psst, psst, psst. They're trying to stop her. But she doesn't know that she's trying to stop. And she's thinking, why are they all so fluttering around for, And in the meantime, Mother Yashoda's really decorated her hands really nicely with mehendi, right? And so then the gopis beckon over, come. So then she says to Mother Yashoda, I think my friends are calling me. Do you mind if I go? No, please go and play with them. So she goes to them. And then they rush out of the castle. As they're rushing out of the castle, Vishaka says to Radharani, what's wrong with you? Radharani said, why, what did I do? She said, do you know what the decoration on your hand is? She says, no, it means that you're married. You're about to marry. Radharani says, what? I don't want to get married. How did that happen? I didn't know that she was doing all this so I could get married. What do you do now? So she's all exasperated. And of course, one of her top friends is Lalita. Lalita is the bright one. She's really smart. So she says to her, don't worry, I have a solution. There's a lake here, a lake close by. We'll go to that lake and you wash your hands in that lake. So they go to the lake, and Radha is about to go into the lake. She says, no, I don't think I'm going to go into that lake. She says, why? There might be a demon inside that lake. Who knows who will come out of that lake and do what to me? And Lalita and Vishaka say, you don't have to worry. Whoever that demon is, we will annihilate the demon. By the way, the gopis are very strong wrestlers, okay? One time there was a competition between the gopas and the gopis. The gopis thrashed the gopas. The gopas were wondering, wow, we thought we're the guys. We're the strong ones. The gopis thrashed them. These gopis, they may look like daintily young girls, but they're not. They're very strong. They're very powerful. They may look like they don't have knowledge, but they're the smartest. So they say, okay, come with us. They take her and then she washes her hand. So the whole lake becomes yellow in color. And then they realize they're in the wrong place, because this is the place where Krishna has his pastimes with his cows and the calves and the gopas. So they decide they better vamoose out of there before Krishna catches them. Because if Krishna catches them in his area, what is he going to do? He's going to tax them. He's going to tax them. What is his tax? Oh, you have to give us the buttermilk. You have to give us the cream. You have to give us the milk. And the gopis don't like giving all this away like that. They work very hard to go and get all those things, right? And get them ready. You see what I'm saying? So they immediately took off. Soon in the scene, Krishna is running after a calf. He's chasing a calf who ran away from the herd. And he's calling out, Muni, Muni, Muni. He's calling out to the calf. And as he's running by this lake, from the corner of his eye, he sees the lake is yellow. And he's thinking, there was no yellow lake here. How did this lake become yellow? So he turns to the lake and he thinks, maybe it took my calf and become yellow because of that. So he decides, I'm going to go into the lake. So he goes and he touches the lake just to see some demon might be around. And he gets an electric shock. But this electric shock is pure bliss. He gets a shock, but normally when you get a shock, you feel some pain, right? But in his case, he's feeling pure bliss. So he's thinking, wow, this is amazing. Maybe I should put my other hand in there too. So he puts his other hand there. He gets more bliss. He's saying, wow, this is amazing. Then he starts saying, Krishna, Krishna. And here's Krishna himself. And he's saying, Krishna, Krishna. And he's going into the lake. And then he's chanting loudly, Krishna, Krishna. He's chanting loudly his name. And then he dives into the lake, but he's thinking, wow, this is pure bliss. This is pure bliss. And he's diving in the lake and he's swimming in the lake, and his peacock feathers hang out on the top of the lake and going all over the place. And all these inhabitants around the trees, the birds, the cuckoos, everybody, they're looking at this great fun happening and they're all just cheering him on. Wow, this is so great. And he comes out chanting Krishna, Krishna, but this time he looks all yellow. So all of the living entities there chant loudly, Go Ranga! Go Ranga! Go Ranga! So they're in complete bliss. Krishna is like at his happiest. He's chanting Krishna's name. He's wondering, why am I chanting my own name? He's chanting his own name because he's now imbued with the mood of Radharani. And this is Radharani's mood. So then he decides, I'm going to run to Navadvip. From Vrindavan, he runs to Navadvip and takes all of his friends along to Navadvip to perform pastimes in Navadvip. As Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Balaram becomes Lord Nityananda, and all of these personalities. But when they ran there, in their rush, they forgot Radharani's brother. Who is Radharani's brother? Sridham. They forgot Sridham. Why? Sridham he had eaten a lot of prasadam, so he had knocked out. So he was sleeping. So everybody took off and they forgot, this guy is sleeping. They all took off. And when they reached Mayapur, then Lord Chaitanya says, where's Sridham? And they said, oh, he was sleeping underneath the tree. So he says to Nityananda, you go back and bring Sridham. So Nityananda comes back. He wakes him up. And he says to him, get up, Sridham. And he says, who are you? Well, he doesn't look like Balaram, right? He looks like this beautiful, golden red colored personality who's so handsome and tall and everything like that. And he says, who are you? He thinks some demon came in this beautiful form. And he says, I'm Balaram. He says, you're not Balaram. Balaram looks nothing like you. He says, no, I am Balaram. So he says, well, show me yourself as Balaram. So Lord Nityananda turns himself back into the form of Balaram. And then he takes Sridham with him to Mayapur. And then they perform wonderful pastimes, different pastimes that we all know of Gauranga Prabhu. I'm going to shorten this a little because this class is going to go until next year if I don't stop. So then what happens is they're having this great time in Mayapur, and then they decide, we better go back home because, Mother Yashoda and all the people are waiting at home, right? We have to go back in the afternoon. So they come back, and as they're coming back, the clouds become happy. They start rumbling. When the clouds start rumbling, who do you think becomes very happy? The peacocks. The peacocks love the rumbling of the clouds. So the peacocks start dancing. The gopis here, the peacocks are dancing, amazing dance. So they want to go and see the dance, the peacocks dancing. So the peacocks are dancing, And the gopis see that, and and then the gopis go and tell the gopas, oh, you think your Krishna can dance? These peacocks can dance much better. You should come and see the peacocks dancing. So the cowherd boys go to Krishna and say, the gopis tell us that the peacocks are dancing better than you. Krishna said, nobody can dance as good as me. Krishna is very competitive, okay? Krishna never loses. He has to win. The guy can't accept a loss. He just can't take it. He has to win. That's why some of us are like that too. We can't lose, right? We have to win. So what happens is, Krishna goes to see the dance. And he sees, wow, these guys are really dancing. So now Krishna has to show the peacocks, I can dance better. So Krishna starts competing with the peacocks. And the peacocks are dancing, and Krishna is outdoing them. The peacocks are outdoing Krishna. Peacocks, and then Krishna outdoes peacocks. So this is going back and forth, right? And then Krishna's flute that's hanging in his sash jumps out of the flute, out of the sash, and starts dancing, doing the stick dance. And then his dance is better than the dance of the peacocks and Krishna combined. And the gopis are thinking, wow, we didn't know the flute can dance. I mean, this flute is dancing like crazy. I mean, wow, the flute is dancing better than Krishna. And they're cheering the flute. Normally, they don't like the flute, okay? The gopis don't like the flute. They think the flute's a bad guy, you know. But now they're cheering the flute because they're trying to tell Krishna, oh, you think you can dance? Wow, first the peacocks did better, now the flute's doing better. So Krishna, he doesn't want to lose, right? So what does Krishna do? He jumps into the flute. Now they can't see Krishna. Flute is dancing, and flute is going, what happened? What just happened? And Krishna is inside of him. So the flute becomes stunned. So the flute falls to the ground. He's stunned. He doesn't know what to do now. And the peacocks are looking and they don't know what to do. What just happened? Where did Krishna go? Suddenly Krishna jumps out of one of the holes and starts dancing again. And the gopis go, Krishna Ikshita, Krishna Ikshita, Krishna has come, Krishna has come. The gopis go wild and they all start dancing. And then as they're dancing, they all become very tired. Then everybody stops and the peacock, the king of the peacocks, starts crying. So he starts crying, and Krishna starts crying. And everyone's thinking, why is the peacock crying? And why is Krishna crying? So Krishna goes to the peacocks, why are you crying? And so the peacocks say, we're crying because we were just dancing because the clouds were rumbling, and then you came, and then you danced so nicely, and then we decided to compete with you, and then your flute danced so nicely, and then you went inside your flute. I don't know how that happened. And then you jumped out of the flute, and you danced. And we're thinking, all this was for our entertainment. And we're thinking, we're so poor. Peacocks think, we're so poor, we have no gift to give you. So I'm crying. I've got no gift to give you. I can't say thank you enough. Krishna says, come on. That's not why we dance. We just dance, we're having a good time. The peacocks, no, we have to give you something. So all the peacocks decide that they're going to take one of the feathers off their tail and place it at Krishna's feet. So all the peacocks came and offered one of their feathers to Krishna at his Lord's feet. And Krishna became totally overwhelmed. He was thinking, people give me this, they give me that, they give me a whole creation, and I don't feel happiness. But when the peacock gave me a part of their body, I'm the happiest person in creation. So he says to the peacocks, I love you so much. Henceforth, I'll always wear your feather on my head. People will know me as Krishna because of your feather. They'll know me by you. This is how much benefit he gave the peacocks. The peacocks became so happy. They were the poorest and they became the richest just because of Krishna. All this is happening because Indra has decided to attack Vrindavan. Imagine how much greatness is happening here, right? And then Krishna decides, we're getting late, we better go back home. Mother Yashoda will be worried. Why are we not home? So they rush back home, and because they've been busy all day, they say to Mother Yashoda, he says to Mother Yashoda, my boys are really hungry. They've been really busy all day long. Can you please cook a nice feast? So she tells Radharani to come and cook. Radharani cooks. And after she cooks, Krishna becomes very happy. He peeks through the window at Radharani, winks at her and says, I'm coming and seeing you tonight. And Radharani thinks, wow, this is amazing. Me and Krishna together is going to be a great time. So they have a kunj there called Kyari Kunj, where Radha and Krishna, the gopis, they spend their time. It's a very beautiful place. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if ISKCON comes from that place. The way Prabhupada describes the place we have in the spiritual world, I mean, it's similar to this description. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. Radharani goes there. She sets the place up beautifully because Krishna is coming, dresses herself really beautifully, looks at herself in the lake to see that she looks beautiful enough for Krishna, and she's really happy. And 6 o'clock was when Krishna was supposed to arrive. 7 o'clock happens, no Krishna. 8 o'clock, no Krishna. 9 o'clock, no Krishna. Now Radharani is getting mad. This boy has stood me up before. This boy is a rascal. No wonder he's black. Now, by the way, this is not anything about black, okay? But this is Radharani. No wonder he's black. No wonder he's crooked. I can't stand straight. Even the stick he uses is crooked. This boy is totally crooked. She's getting really mad. She dishevels her hair, throws the flower out like an elephant in a china shop, destroys the kunja. Mess, complete mess. Everything's a complete mess. Just around midnight, she hears a rustle, and Krishna comes out. And he's got scratch marks on his hands, scratch marks on his cheeks. Radharani knows now, I know what happened. I know he's got scratch marks. She turns around and says to him, I don't want to see your face. Leave right now. I don't want you. I don't want to be anywhere near you. Krishna's begging, no. I love you so much. You're the only one I love. Radha says, yeah, right. I know where you've been. No. When I was coming, these bushes had thorns in them, and the thorns scratched my hands. And I fell down and scratched my cheeks. Radha said, yes, I know. I know you speak the truth. You liar. You can never speak the truth. That's what's wrong with you. I should never expected that you will come on time. She's completely mad at Krishna. And so it's a real terrible situation. Krishna is begging, Radharani, no way I want you near me. And all the living entities are watching, and they're thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And they can hardly breathe. They can hardly breathe. Comes in Rupa Manjari. Who's Rupa Manjari? The best of the devotees. She comes in from behind Krishna, gives him a kick on his backside, on his butt. He flies out of the kunj, lands outside the kunj. And he thinks, a little girl just kicked me. I mean, there's no worse insult than that. He starts crying. He's thinking, whoa, what just happened? How could this even happen? All the living entities looking around think, nobody ever kicks Krishna. How this little girl came and kicked Krishna? And she gave him such a kick that he fell outside the kunj. This is a little girl. How did she get such a nice soccer kick from? Where did she learn soccer from? That she's such a strong kicker, you know what I mean? Like that. So they all start crying and they can hardly breathe. Now at another place, there's a huge tree called Kalpabriksha. Kalpabriksha is the best amongst all the trees in Vrindavan, a particular tree after whom all the trees are named. And he's telling a story. And the story is that there are two birds, Sukha and Sari. Who's Sukha? Sukha is Radharani's parrot. And Sari is Krishna's parrot. And these two are speaking. And those two are arguing who is better. Krishna is better or Radharani is better. And they both are telling stories of each. Sukha is telling stories of Radharani and saying, see, Radharani is the best. And then Sari tells another story of Krishna and says, no, but Krishna is the best. So these two are talking and they came and landed on this tree and they wanted to talk about who is the best devotee. So they were saying, devotees are the best. Devotees of Krishna are the best. Look, Lord Rama, before he went and fought the battle, who did he worship? Who did Lord Rama worship before he went and fought the battle with... he worshipped Lord Shiva. Why did he worship Lord Shiva? Because Lord Shiva is devotee of Krishna. He's a devotee of Krishna. So if you worship a devotee of Krishna, you'll become very empowered. So Lord Rama wanted to defeat Ravana. So he worshipped Shiva, so he can become empowered to kill Ravana. Did you know at the time of the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Narayan came on the battlefield and worshipped Arjuna? This is the power of the devotee. So the birds are going to talk about who is the best devotee. So out of the tree, there's a little hole in the tree, in the trunk, crept a snake, a black snake came out of it. Winds it up the tree, goes into one of the branches, curls around the branches, puts his head up, all the birds flew away. Because the birds were worried the snake might harm us in some way. The snakes eat birds, right? So they flew away. And so Kalpabriksha tells the birds, come back, come back, come back. You don't have to worry, he's okay. But the two, Sukha and Sari, are saying to the snake, why did you come here? You're not a great devotee of Krishna. And so the snake became very insulted. So what he did was he took his head and put it inside his coils and hid his head underneath the coils because he's feeling ashamed. So Kalpabriksha says, no, you have no idea who this snake is. You have no idea who this snake is. And so they say, who is this snake? And then he tells this story that I just told you. Now Krishna is outside the kunja. He's trying to crawl back into the kunja. He wants to come to Radharani. He's crying. Radharani is thinking, where did this go from where to where? Everybody can't even breathe properly. Their breath is stuck in their throat. Crawls in a snake. Fire coming out of the mouth. Bloodshot red eyes. Radharani sees the snake. She jumps and hugs Krishna because she wants Krishna to protect him from the snake. Krishna hugs Radharani and then he winks at the snake and says, thank you, you saved the day. There was no way Radharani was going to come back. You saved the day. So Kalpa is telling Sukha and Sari, that's the snake. He's the best devotee of Krishna. Right? So sometimes as devotees we feel, I'm not such a nice devotee. I don't chant my rounds nicely. I don't do this. People complain about me. They say bad things about me. No. Always understand, sometimes something is going to happen that you're going to do a service that Krishna is really going to appreciate. So stay in the mix of the devotees. That's the idea. So then what happens is, now that the two of them are together, the gopis are always looking for an opportunity of how to serve Radha and Krishna. So they put them on a swing. You remember the swing festival we did? That's the swing festival that happened after that. They put them on a swing and then gave them some nice refreshments and they swung them. But as you know, Krishna is always going to do something crooked, right? So he decides to jump off the swing and swing Radharani on her own, and he swings her so hard that she feels like she's going to fly off the swing. But Radharani is a very strong person. He doesn't fly off the swing. But the gopis, they decide, this boy is really naughty. We've got to teach him a lesson. You know what I mean? So they tell him, now you hop on the swing, and we're going to swing you. Right? And so they have a lot of fun like that, and Radharani really enjoying the fun. So then Radharani says, I'm feeling so happy today. Why don't we go for a dance? And then the Rasa Leela happens, which is this painting here. All the gopis and Krishna go out, and they have a nice, and then Lakshmi, seeing this, she comes and she says to Krishna, can I also join? And he says, no, because you're already married to Narayan. So sorry, you cannot join. Then Lord Shiva comes, and can I join? And he says, okay, you can join, but you have to go and first take a bath in that stream. And then he takes a bath and he becomes a gopi, and the gopis are wondering, who is this beautiful gopi? You never saw this beautiful gopi. And Lord Shiva gets to dance in the Rasa Leela. But as usual, Krishna always going to be up to something. While the Rasa Leela is going on, he takes off. Radharani chases after him, can't find him. So Radharani is sitting, wondering, what happened? And so what happens is, Krishna comes. But Krishna doesn't come as Krishna. He comes as a gopi. Beautiful gopi. He comes as a beautiful gopi. Right? Shamali. And so he's coming, and he's coming down the pathway, and Shuka and Sari are sitting on a branch on the pathway, and they see this beautiful gopi coming. They see that she's so beautiful, they faint. So they're hanging upside down on that branch. You know how they sit like this. They're staying upside down. They're hanging upside down because they're just, wow, this gopi is so beautiful. Who is this gopi? She comes up, the gopis asking, who are you? And she's got her sari covered nicely, Really it's like very, very shy person, beautiful character, like that, right? She walks right up to Radharani. Radharani's thinking, wow, I never saw such a beautiful girl. They say, I'm the most beautiful gopi, but I think this girl is more beautiful than I am. She says, who are you? She says, well, I just came from the demigod kingdom, but I have something to ask you. She says, what do you have to ask? She says, you're such a nice person. She praises Radharani. And Radharani's feeling blush. She's blushing. She's thinking, don't say things like that about me. Then she says, but I want to say something about Krishna. Radharani says, yes, please tell me about Krishna. He says, Krishna is a rascal. Radharani thinks, what? I thought you were going to praise Krishna. And then she starts telling all the things that Krishna did to Radharani that were wrong. And Radharani's thinking, how does this girl know all this? How does she know so much detail about what we're doing? And the gopis are cheering this gopi on. Yeah, you're right. We keep telling Radharani, chase that black snake away. He's a bad boy. Why are you hanging around with him? This, that, and the other. And so they're cheering this girl on. They're cheering Shamali on. And Shamali's become more bold and saying even more things about Krishna, insulting Krishna. Then at some point Radharani says, have you said enough? She says, no, I got more to say. Okay, say it. So she says all of that too, and he says, now have you said enough? No, I got more to say. More she will criticize Krishna, right, in front of Radharani. And then Radharani says, enough is enough. You have to stop now. He says, why? He says, let me explain who Krishna is. Then Radharani tells her all the things why she's wrong about Krishna. And Krishna is thinking, wow. I mean, somebody's thinking, wow, like this. So Shamali finally thinks, nobody can love Krishna that much. So he says Shamali says to Krishna, to Radharani, so Krishna loves you very much, right? Yeah. So if you tell Krishna to come here right now, he'll come, right? He says, yeah. So you go call Krishna. I want to see. You please bring Krishna in front right now. So Radharani says, okay, I'll do that. Radharani gets off her Vyasasana. She sits in lotus position. She starts meditating. Eyes are moving and she's meditating. And Krishna, and the Shamali is looking, thinking, wow, this girl is really meditating. And as she's meditating, she sees that her golden hands are turning black. And that her cloth from a sari is turning into a dhoti. And she's realizing, I'm turning into Krishna. She's going to expose me. You know what I mean? So he's thinking, what do I do? But Radharani can tell a lot about Krishna, even though Krishna, she's not seeing. So she realizes Krishna is here. She opens her eyes and she says, Krishna, you're here. And Krishna says, yeah. And Krishna doesn't know what to say to her. She says, why? He says, no, this other gopi came and said, I should call you and you won't come, and you've come. And Krishna says, there's no gopi around here. Let's be together. So she actually lies on Krishna's lap, and then you hear the story of Madhu, right? There's a bumblebee that comes, and Krishna chases away the bumblebee and says, I chased Madhu away. And Radharani feels like, oh, they chased Krishna away. She starts crying while Krishna is right there, right? So in that pastime, while Radharani is crying like this, and Krishna is there, the scene opens up, and the residents of Vrindavan realize that all this is happening in the 7 planetary systems. So Krishna turned a situation that was a real difficult situation into a situation that actually is very, very beautiful. Actually, the story goes on and on. There's really wonderful pastimes that go on and on like this into the 7 planetary planets. And you could sit here for a whole year and I couldn't stop telling you more stories about what happens, the next thing that happens, the next thing happens, the next thing that happens. But this is Krishna. This is Krishna. This is how much He loves us. This is what He wants to do with us. But we're too busy trying to enjoy our senses. We're too busy looking at why somebody is insulting me or saying something bad about me or doing something bad to me and this, that, and the other. But this is our mistake. Don't do that. Don't do that. Today is Lord Krishna's appearance day. He has come. He's come for us. Paritranaya sadhunam. He comes for us. He wants us to go back home, back to Godhead. Because that's where we're going to enjoy all these pastimes nicely. So, I wanted to encourage you today, as much as I possibly could, that please become bold, become like one of these lions, right? We have 82 lions in our temple. We counted it one day. And the lions here, the lions outside, the lions at the Samadhi, we had to count them up. It was 82 lions. And so be a lion-like character. Go out, reach out to people. Show them that they're also children of Krishna. They need to be happy, not all the mess that's going out, the political mess, the financial mess, the whatever mess, the wars going on, this, that, and the other. All this is happening because people have forgotten Krishna. We are the devotees. It's our purpose to go out and preach. And the best way to preach is to take books out and distribute these books of Krishna. Books that Prabhupada wrote. Distribute the books, invite them to the temple. Krishna House is a very good program. Bring them, dance with them, sing with them, feast with them. Explain this science, this philosophy so nicely to them that they feel like, I don't want to leave, I just want to stay here. I don't go anywhere else. That is the purpose of Krishna coming onto this planet. So he's come, and we're all very happy that we're with him. We've got the most beautiful deity, Radha Kalachandji, right? Radharani is very beautiful. Krishna is so beautiful, like that. Wonderful Gaur Nitai, who are Sankirtan devotees, deities. Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra here, Lord of the universe, and his brother and sister Yogamaya. Tulsi Maharani is here. Prabhupada is here. Spiritual masters are here. Representations. This is the spiritual world that we can see through these paintings. So we're in the most fortunate position. So we should be thinking to ourselves, how did we get all this great fortune? Not, something's going wrong. Something's going wrong is a spot in the moon. The moon is great. Why are we looking at the spot? Why are we focusing on this spot? Let's not focus on the spot. Let's focus on the moon and just be blissful, ear-to-ear smiles, and be happy today. As Nrsimharupa Prabhu and I were talking this morning, because the TV person had come to look, his mother walks in, and the first thing she says to two of us, why are you two not smiling? And this is Mother Kunti. She's very smart, She picks up on things that we don't pick up on. And so, why are you two not smiling? Thinking, what? You should be smiling. Today is Krishna's birthday. Everybody should be happy today. Are we thinking? That's actually the essence of Krishna Janmashtami. We should be very happy. And today, so many people will be coming to our temple. And we should serve them with so much happiness and love that they feel nobody serves us better than the devotees of Krishna. The devotees of Krishna are the best. Look how nicely they serve us, how much they love us, how much they feed us, how much they invite us into the room so that we can have darshan of the deities, bathe the deities, do kirtan, sing, dance, feast, and all the wonderful pastimes that have been shown outside, particularly the Krishna Kaliya pastime of Krishna riding on the snake in the river, how we do those boat rides, right? You notice the boat ride? The boats go in the front. People are skiing at the back and holding the ski. And so that's Krishna, Kaliya is going in the front and he's holding the tail of Kaliya and having a nice ski on the lake, on the river of Yamuna, like that. So this is all great fun time. So let's all have a very great day today. We're all very happy that we're all here together and we can celebrate Krishna consciousness in a way that makes us truly happy, but more importantly, makes others very happy. Thank you very much. I know I took a lot of time. Wow, 10:19. Amazing. Wow. This is one of my weaknesses. Too big a mouth, I can't stop flapping the mouth. I should stop flapping sooner enough. Anyway, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If any of you would like to say something or anything that you'd like to talk about, please. We have some mics here. You can say something that enlivens all of us. Any doubts, concerns, realizations, whatever. Anybody at all? Yes. Somebody here? Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for a very enlivening class. I think, it was really, really sweet to hear these beautiful pastimes of the Lord. I'm still thinking you said those things about women being able to be like very, I don't remember how you said it. It was very strong language. And so I just wanted to ask you to maybe explain how I should not be offended by that, and how men should not use that against women.
Thank you. Very good point. So basically why I was saying that is because women, they've been given the power of emotional bandwidth. There is nothing more powerful than emotion in this world, both in terms of love and in terms of misery. The full bandwidth is very powerful. And so those who have that quality in them, that they have the bandwidth of emotion, they are the persons who can create the most love and also create the most misery, because that's the power of emotion. So I wasn't saying so much about women, I was saying about these three ladies who are the masters of the modes. They're the masters of the modes, mistresses of the modes, however you like to think. So the idea is, what I wanted to impress on everybody is nobody can defeat them. They're undefeatable, because they're so powerful. That's why I was saying that when women decide to give pain, no one can beat them. Prabhupada himself said, if a woman becomes determined, no man can defeat the woman. You see what I'm saying? So that's the power of the women. Now, power can go both ways. And women exercise power in both of those ways. We see some women actually do things that are so incredibly great that you think to yourself, we're fortunate that we have women. You know, like an example is, when Indra committed the great sin of killing a Brahmana, the amount of sin that he accumulated was so big, there was no way anybody could have repaid that sin. And so who did he turn to? He turned to the women and said, can you please accept the sin on my behalf? And the women were so nice that they accepted the sin on behalf of Indra. It is since then that women became subordinate to men. Before that, women were not subordinate to men. So women took a subordinate position. To take a subordinate position is not easy, especially when you become subordinate to rascals. Men are rascals, right? Why they're rascals is because they're women parading in men's bodies. The soul is Prakriti, the soul is female. So these are men's bodies over a female Prakriti, right? So in a sense, they're like frauds. And a lot of women will tell you, you know, stay away from men. If you want problems, go to men. If you don't want problems, don't go to men, right? Marriage itself, I'm a marriage counselor, 47 years marriage counseling I've done. I've counseled many, many people. I can honestly say that there's no such thing as a happy marriage. Honestly, I can say that. How a marriage becomes happy is because Krishna becomes the center. And both of them become doubly empowered to serve Krishna. That's happiness. That's the bliss. But if you take Krishna out of the mix, oh my God, you got a mess. You got a huge mess. It's like East-West trying to bring them together. You know, men are from Mars, they say, women from Venus. These two planets don't get along. You see what I'm saying? So in that sense, there are some realities that when we say those realities, yes, they can be misread, right? And you didn't misread them. You made sure that I balanced it out by saying the other part. You see what I'm saying? So thank you, I appreciate that. But the point is that, yes, this is a world of dukhalaya sashrutam, which means misery and instability. So actually, the greatness of this world is misery and instability. That's its greatness. That's what it is. A coal is going to be black, no matter how much you wash it, it's not going to become white, right? All the water will become black, but the coal will remain black, like that. So in the same way, the emotions of this world, of material world, when they are being controlled by the modes, by the way, it's when the modes control these emotions. If Krishna controls the emotions, it's not like that. When Krishna controls any emotion, even if the emotion is causing a problem, in the sense outwardly creating a problem, it actually creates pleasure. Like say, for example, the case of these huge thunderbolts hitting the body of Giriraj, or when Haridas Thakur was being beaten, whipped. Whipped is the word I was looking for. Being whipped through the 21 marketplaces, right? We can see that even though pain was being inflicted, he didn't feel the pain. He actually felt happiness, because it was Lord Krishna, or Lord Gauranga, who was directly involved in that pastime. So in our lives, we want to keep Krishna and Gauranga totally involved in our lives. at every moment. Never forget Krishna for a moment. Never forget Gauranga Mahaprabhu for a moment. Always think that whatever you're doing is in relationship to dealing with them, so you don't forget them, right? And so when you don't forget them, no matter how much pain can be inflicted by anybody, particularly the three modes, we will not feel it. Because we're so happy in our Krishna consciousness and our service that we feel like, I don't deserve this. This is much better. So in that sense, yeah. I'm sorry if I insulted you, and there's no desire in me to insult, but there is fault in me. We all have faults, right? So in that sense, sometimes we have to be careful when we say things, and I got a little carried away. Thank you very much for bringing me back to earth. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Very well, yeah. I just want to appreciate you, Nityananda Prabhu, for such a wonderful class. It was like almost 2 hours of, you really got on like a thread there, and on that thread you strung flower after flower, making a garland of Krishna's pastimes and bringing out the glories of Krishna, Srimati Radharani, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, devotees of the Lord, and also made it relevant to our current situation as practicing Krishna consciousness in Srila Prabhupada's movement. So it was a broad spectrum of transcendental...
You're not supposed to be so broad spectrum in a class.
I mean, Priti Maharaj milking the earth, you really went all the cosmos.
I broke all the rules of communication.
But the amazing thing was how everything was so connected, you know? Just when I thought you were like just going off into something totally different, I saw like a connection to the previous thing. It's like he's really got a thread. Like sometimes it's a thin thread, but it's going. So yeah, I'm just appreciating your genius in presenting these transcendental topics and making them relevant for our practice and understanding. And also it was very, very entertaining. So it just... you brought out the transcendental nature, the relishable, how these pastimes are transcendentally relishable by devotees who are pure in heart. And also you started with the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's how Bhagavatam starts, is Aho Rasika, Aho, how's it go? Aho Rasa. Anyways, he's saying that relish Srimad Bhagavatam. Relish Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for relishing. These pastimes are meant for relishing. And you made them very relishable for us. So thank you for attracting us to Krishna and making us want to join those pastimes. Haribol.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. So actually, one of the things is that we are taught Antarnishta Bahir Lok Vyahar, which means that internally we always stay within the pastimes. So internally it should be always thinking of pastimes, but externally we're dealing with the world. And in dealing with the world, we realize that the only reason we're dealing with the world is because Krishna wants us to do that, to help others also relish his pastimes. That's what it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I just had a quick question. A lot of those pastimes I hadn't heard before, and I was just wondering where
are these pastimes?
Yeah, all the details of the pastimes within pastimes.
Yeah. I mean, there are some wonderful books out there, but generally those pastimes are from the writings of the 6 Goswamis. Very main. And these ones, sometimes our own devotees, right? Like Shivaram Maharaj is a very good example of a person who actually takes those writings and then tells us stories in a more simpler way than the Goswamis actually put in a little more context and therefore a little deeper and therefore harder to understand, whereas Shivaram Maharaj makes it simpler for us to understand. But these books are available. Shivaram Maharaj's books is one great example, but you can actually Google these stories and you'll see the books in which they come from, and then if you get the books and read them, that's good. But they all come from the Bhagavatam, by the way. Initially the Bhagavatam was much bigger. This Bhagavatam we're reading now is a concise version of the original Bhagavatam. So the stories are all from the Bhagavatam. Originally all things come from the Bhagavatam in terms of the stories. And in the Goswamis they explain the stories with reference to the verses in the Bhagavatam. It's amazing. All these stories have a verse in the Bhagavatam that they refer to show that it's all there in the Bhagavatam. It's a matter of just bringing it out of the Bhagavatam. And they know these stories, so they tell us, and then we can learn from that. Thank you very much. Yes. You had a... Did you want to say? Yeah.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for the class.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the in-depth glorification of Bhagavatam and the really sweet stories. Thank you.
Thank you.
My question is, you were just saying that we should be internally relishing the pastimes of Lord Krishna. I find personally I have this tendency to like mentally try to understand everything or philosophically understand rather than with emotion and love and devotion. So how do I transfer that state of like mental philosophical into like emotional love and devotion?
Yes. So the mind likes to analyze things. That's what the mind does. It sort of like always tries to figure things out and understand it so that it can bring it within its purview. But the mind cannot do that with Krishna's pastimes, because Krishna's pastimes are transcendental. They go beyond the mind. So what we use the mind in this case for is to have the mind speak to the heart and say to the heart, allow me to also learn from you. Because the heart knows more. The heart is where the Lord is sitting and the living entity is sitting. And so the heart understands better. So the mind surrenders to the heart and says, let me understand this better. And then the heart explains. The heart actually will explain. And the heart explains based on your own happiness when you hear pastimes, right? Whenever you hear pastimes, something may make you feel really happy, right? Wow, that was very nice. So that's now in your heart, right? So your heart can explain that to the mind now and say to the mind, this is how it happens. Oh mind, you please become peaceful. Just hear. Because you will not be able to understand everything. Because what is happening is beyond your understanding. It's beyond your understanding. So then the mind becomes peaceful. That's why Prabhupada sings this very nice sphere, Bhajahu Remana, Shri Nanda Nandana, Abhaya Charana Arvindare. Right? In that prayer, Prabhupada is saying to the mind, just surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna and just hear these pastimes and relish the pastimes. You don't have to analyze them because your analysis will make no difference, right? Analysis will make absolutely no difference. It might actually complicate things and make it worse, actually. So better to just try and understand what's happening and move like that. And if we do that in the association of devotees who come from the heart like that, it becomes much more simple. And I've seen you like standing here and talking to children and telling them how to say the alphabet, this, that, and the other. You're doing that from the heart, right? That's not from the mind. If you do it from the mind, children will not learn. Children are very smart. They're actually smarter than us. It is said every generation is smarter than the previous generation. It becomes like that. So children will not learn by mental ability or mental gymnastics. They will learn by the heart. That's why the number one, when we give counseling to families, do family counseling, the number one piece of advice I give to the mother and father into how to bring up a child is please give that child a lot of love. Love is your most powerful strategy. If you play that strategy, sooner or later things are going to come right. Sometimes it takes later because the child is more naughty. And the child is more naughty because the child is smarter. Krishna was very naughty. Gauranga Mahaprabhu was very naughty. When they were young, their mothers were out of their wits. How naughty these two were. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't let their minds come in the between. They let their hearts deal with the two of them. And they became fine. They were happy and the lords were happy as well. So that's the way to do that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. This is true about it's really difficult to philosophically speculate about Krishna's pastimes. Like it does feel like you just can't. So I think I'm not listening to enough pastimes.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. We should actually read as many pastimes as possible and bring them into the heart. Leave them in the heart, you know? It's the right place for things to happen. Yeah, we have as much time as we want. I think the next program. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you again. I'm also wondering, these pastimes are so relishable and deep, and they do touch the heart. How can we make sure that our feelings of appreciation for these pastimes are not material and sentimental? How can we be sure that they're actually appreciating the transcendental nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
That's an amazingly perfect question to ask. It's actually very true that we should not allow these pastimes to be directed at ourselves. Pastimes are directed at the Lord and the Lord's devotees. They're not directed at us. When we direct it at us, we are making these pastimes impure. We're putting impurities into the pastime. It's like someone makes really nice sweet rice and then you throw sand into it. I mean, that sweet rice is going to be very hard to eat after that. So we should never take any of these pastimes and think that these pastimes are in relation to me. They're not in relation to me. They're in relation to Krishna and Krishna's associates and the devotees. And we're just so fortunate that we're there and we're witnessing it. That's all. Then what Krishna does is, he makes it relevant to us. He makes it relevant to us. We cannot. If we try to make it relevant to us, it'll become irrelevant. And all that will happen is debauchery. We will think, I'm a great devotee, and I'm a this of Krishna, and I'm a that of Krishna, and Radharani, and this, that, and the other. And we will cause pain in other people's lives. We should not do that in our life and other people's life. So yes, very good point. Always direct all these pastimes at appreciating Krishna and Krishna's associates and devotees. And stay focused on that. Wow, they're so great. I'm so lucky to see. Just like many people come to this temple and they look at the decorations and they feel like, wow, this place looks so beautiful. They don't think, oh, this is my place. I own this place. I'm going to use this as my office now. And I think I'll use this as my living room. You know, then the temple president may come and give them a big kick on their backside and they might fall in Fort Worth, right? I had that happen once when I became temple president. One very big donor came and he met with me and he said, you know, this whole wall, I paid for it. And I said, oh, really? He said, yeah. And I said, well, sir, I can only say one thing to you. He said, what? He said, don't turn around. He said, why? I said, if you turn around, I'm going to give a kick on your backside so hard, you'll fall in Fort Worth. He was like, how can you speak to me like that? I'm like a big donor. I said, you're nothing. Anything that we get in this temple comes from Krishna. If Krishna gave you money and you gave a little bit of it to us, don't get all puffed up about it and tell me that you own this wall. You don't own this wall. This wall is owned by Krishna. And his devotees have done these paintings. These are all done by devotees. It's not done by you. You know, you have a little bit of money and you're so proud of your money. You know, so he went and complained to my spiritual master. Your disciple spoke like that. He said, yeah, I'm very proud of my disciple. So he didn't get any answer there either. So, you know, it was like, he was like, you know, what do I do now? You know what I'm saying? But this is what happens when we turn things on ourselves. We think that I am the center of the universe and everything should rotate around me. No, we're the center of nothing except misery. You know, except being miserable. That's what we're the center of. Everything else, everybody else is the center of. So we should appreciate that. And so yeah, if we do that, that's the right way to look at it. Dick, probably you want to say something? Well, you had your hand up and then it's answered. Okay. If they have questions, if they don't, we all have. Balaram Prasad Prabhu just walked in and they're setting up the tents. And so he's looking for some young, able-bodied persons to help him so that they can set up the tents up there. Is that what you want?
Hare Krishna. So please do come out and help because nobody outside. We are alone. So really looking for help so we can finally set the park. We already set the tent, but we have additional thing to set. And second thing, we are going to close down the parking side, half side of the parking towards Sham Keshav Prabhu's home on the right side. So if you have parked your car there, we request to take your car other side so we can close the entire area. So we can set up a prasadam area for that one also. Really appreciate all of you. Really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So, anybody else want to say something or anything? No? So we will, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, oftentimes are like as soon as we come in front of Kalachandji, most of the times I think our approach or our emotion towards him is, help me, I am suffering. How can we, should we, and how can we change that to more of appreciation?
Thank you. So this point that we make when you come in front of the Lord and say, help me, I'm suffering, is because we are ignorant. We are not suffering. If the fact that you're standing in front of the Lord means you're very fortunate, right? You're sitting on a gold mine and you're thinking, I need to go and earn some money. I need to go and, work at McDonald's or flip burgers or something like that, right? That's not. You're sitting on a gold mine. You're standing in front of the Lord. You're not suffering. You need to find somebody who can tell you you're not suffering, or sign yourself into a mental hospital. These are the two options we really have. You see what I'm saying? Because we're not suffering. Honestly, there's no devotee who's really suffering. The fact that they might be feeling some bad health, financial lack, this, that, and the other, is actually Krishna's way of helping them focus more on others rather than themselves. The more we focus on ourselves, the worse your health is going to become, the worse your wealth is going to become, and everything is going to go south. The more you think of yourself, the more south. So the answer to that is not to think more of yourself in front of the Lord and say, my Lord, I'm really thinking about myself, and I want you to help me think more about myself, and I think that's going to solve the problem. And the Lord is thinking, what can we do? We've been standing here all day, and we are bored out of our lives. And here's this person coming and tell us, we should think about him. We've been thinking about the whole creation. We've been looking after every, amoeba that's on the ground. And here's this person coming and tell me, Lord, you're not thinking about me enough. I think you need to think about me. Why are you worrying about Ras Leela, this, that, and the other? That's all nothing. I am the real one. Come and please help me fix my life. Well, your life is not bad anyway. First of all, you're born as a human being. You're in the top category. You reach the top category of life forms, right? You hit the jackpot. Now you hit the jackpot, you're complaining. That means there's something really wrong, right? So the idea is, let's get out of that space. That is the wrong space to be in. The right space to be in is, others are suffering. What can I do to help them in their suffering? And do you know the top businesses in this world make money help solving other people's problems? Of course, they create a lot of problems on the way too. That's another story. But the point is, that's what they do. That's how they make their money. You see what I'm saying? So the best way we can be happy is to invest in other people's happiness. Then that happiness is going to come around multiplied. What goes around comes around multiplied, right? So like that. So the focus should always be, what can I do for you, Lord? What can I do for your servants? I'm obviously not doing enough. I'm feeling unhappy because I'm not doing enough. Just like Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa was saying to his spiritual master, I wrote the Vedas, but I'm not feeling happy. Why am I not feeling happy after doing all this writing? And so he's explaining, because you've not spoken about devotion enough. You need to focus more on devotion. So we pray to the Lord and we say to the Lord, my Lord, the unhappiness I'm feeling is because I'm not doing enough service. I'm not being devoted enough to your devotees. You see what I'm saying? Please, can you please guide me or send me people who can help me become more devoted? So if that is our prayer, that's a very good prayer. But then also there's lots. There's books and books and books of information. Reading those books, I think the idea is to put it in action. And being so focused on putting it in action that you got no time to think about anything else, right? You're completely engrossed in doing the service, no matter what little service there is. By the way, there's a very easy strategy there. We call it the 5A strategy. The 5A strategy says, right now you can do some service, right? Little service. Do the little service. What will happen when you do the little service? You feel some happiness, right? The happiness will make you feel like, I achieved something. That will make you feel authentic as a devotee, right? You become a happier person. A happier person can do more service, right? So then you go there and do more service now. That'll create more action, more achievement, more authenticity, more affinity, create more action, right? And now help somebody else do the same thing. You will start a movement by this process. The whole movement will take over the world. Any one person can take over this whole world as a movement if they use this methodology. Let me do something, let it create a result. The result will create happiness. The happiness will create authenticity. The authenticity will make me happier to do more. And that'll create more action, more achievement, more authenticity, more affinity. So it just keeps cycling, becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. You see what I'm saying? That you can do from any position you're in. So ours is focusing on opportunity, not focusing on the shortcomings that I might have. Because if I focus on my shortcomings will expand. If I focus on my opportunity to serve devotees, the service to devotees will expand. You see what I'm saying? So what do I want to expand? That becomes the question. Right? We want the Lord to expand. We want His devotion to expand. And His devotees' devotion to expand. Things like that. So that's what we focus on like that. Yeah. Thank you. That's a good question. Very good question. Yes, anybody else? No? All right. Well, thank you all so very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna Janmashtami Mahotsava ki jai. Vanchakalpa Trubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Brinda ki jai. So service. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Gaura Bhakta Brinda ki jai.